Hey, business owners, it's Patrick from Have a Go Business Systems. We listen and we come up with topics that small business owners are interested in hearing about, business problems which are affecting them. And today we're talking about a clearly and obviously important area. As time goes on, more and more customers are not able to pay or are not paying fully as they receive products, as they receive services. So we are going to talk about that growing problem. It is the problem of collections or accounts receivable or customer madeni. So these are customers who haven't paid in full for what they have received, and they're usually taking longer and longer to pay. So this is the topic of today. How do you handle the customer debts? We are going to talk about some very specific action steps. In fact, 5 action steps that you need to take in order to get this area of madeni under control so that your business survives despite this environment of customer madeni becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. So if you're ready, we are. And thank you for joining us. And please share the link to other business owners. Thank you for joining. We are going to do this topic today, and in another 2 weeks, we'll have another topic, another very relevant topic to business this day at this time. This is 2026, and we can see things are not getting easier, but businesses can still thrive. In fact, small businesses have a way of thriving, and we are happy about that. We are happy to be part of helping small businesses thrive as the situations change. So,
thank you, Patrick, for that introduction.
yes.
So, as you heard today, we're talking about customer debts. Share in your questions. Kindly share in your questions. Anything about customer debts? Customer came to you, and then they just went. Walitoroka na your money. Share with us. We are going to talk more about it. Now we are going to run a poll, and you please participate. So the question goes: how do customers usually pay you? Is it full upfront, half now, half later? Is it mostly on credit, or it depends on the customer? So participate in the poll, and you're going to appreciate. Now let's hear more of this about this problem.
Okay. Customers may appear to be somehow becoming slower at paying you for the services or the products that they buy from you, but it's not that they're not prioritizing paying you. It is the way the situations are, the costs. Everybody, people, customers who are individuals, customers who are businesses, all are stretched. All are stretched by the expenses that they have to pay, which are increasing, and the profit margins for business customers are reducing. And you find that everybody's dealing with higher fuel prices, for instance, higher costs, or some costs never going down. As we know, there are costs which never go down, like rent. In fact, if anything, they go up. VAT, which are government expenses, they don't go down. So more and more businesses and individuals are stretched. So it's not that they're not interested or that they're forgetting, it's that they are stretched, each one trying to survive in this situation, which is getting tighter. In fact, it is getting tighter. And but small businesses can survive. They can survive, they can thrive. And we are here to discuss this area of how to handle customers and businesses that are not paying you the way you would like. They are staying more and more with money or payments that they haven't made to you. They're also called receivables. We call them collectibles because that is money you should collect. Okay. There are many examples of businesses that are in this situation. We know, for instance, businesses we've assisted with our system, businesses that have realized or didn't know they had so much money outstanding in collectibles, some with 700,000 shillings, some with 300,000 shillings, some in collectibles, some with a good percent of their sales or a good percent of their stock, which was actually held in amounts which have not yet been paid by customers. So I'm talking about businesses that supply, for instance, menswear. Menswear is an area where people take goods on credit. They take clothing on credit, suits on credit, but also things like phones, electronics. These are businesses that are finding that the only way to keep a customer is to have an ability to give credit. So how does such a business thrive? Well, there are ways, and today we are talking about the action steps that they must take so that they thrive and they continue to even grow their business despite this situation. Basically, what happens is if you don't collect debts, your business can eventually close. We know of businesses who have closed because of amounts, depending on the industry, because of amounts they haven't been paid. There are industries that are known to have so much that have not been paid by their clients that they are forced to close. Or they're still being asked to pay government taxes, whether or not they were paid by their customer. So they can be in a very tricky situation. So what do? We give them some tips on how to act well before things get to that level. Before things get to that level, we're going to talk about the steps that they must take and do regularly. Do regularly, whether or not a customer walks in and he could pay or not pay. It needs to be a standard practice from now on in your business. So we have a poll.
Yes, and the poll, the question goes, what problem are you experiencing in your business? Is it customers delaying the payments? Is it too much credit? Is it poor tracking? Or is it the fear of following up? So choose between these. What problem are you experiencing in your business? If you're not experiencing any of this, type in the comment section. What problem are you experiencing when it comes to customers paying or not paying on time?
Okay, I promised you the action steps you must take. Action step number 1, recording. We always talk about recording, but sometimes we don't realize how important it is and how it has to be part of your business practice. Record the amounts that are being paid and are outstanding. You need to have a recording system. I'll talk about our recording system that we have available for you, which makes this a lot easier. But once you record, you have a chance of following up and you have a chance of getting paid. In fact, a much higher chance of getting paid for amounts that are outstanding with your customers. So what do? You record the payment that is outstanding instantly. You need to have an invoicing system there and then that stays on your record. In fact, an invoicing system that communicates to the customer there and then. So he or she cannot leave the premises without knowing that they owe a certain amount for a certain service or certain goods that they got. So it's all clear. So record including the customer phone number, including the date at which you have agreed that that debt should be paid. So what happens once you have a recording system? That means you have avoided the problem of not remembering, that is forgetting. In fact, you can't keep all this information in your mind. You may be a very good business owner, but you have so many things to attend to. You're trying to promote your business in these difficult times, or in these times when there's other competition. You're trying to promote your business. You are trying to look for more services or more stock to supply to your customers or to stock up. You're trying to keep on top of knowing the stock value or at all times and protecting your stock value. You're trying to to manage your team, your staff. You're trying to manage your obligations, the payables of the business, the rent, the taxes, and so on. So there is too much for you to remember to record every single amount that is owed, or even as a part of that which is paid. So you need to have a recording system. Let it be there, even if you don't expect somebody to take credit for your business. So that if there is somebody who's going to take credit for your business, a customer that you know very well, there's automatically a system of recording how much they owe you, and them walking away knowing they have a reminder, they have all the facts are known by both parties. So many collection problems happen because there was no record. That is how important record keeping is, or recording system is. Many problems happen because there was no record. Customers forget as well. Let's remember customers forget. But let's also remember customers may choose to forget. That means they may pretend not to remember. But a customer's invoice, a customer that walks away with an invoice or gets an invoice online immediately, they have bought something and not finished paying, that person is more likely to remember and to know that all the knowledge, all the information is up there. It's known how much is owed. So what should a customer invoice have? Customer name, the product or service that was purchased, or the list of stock that was bought, or list of services that were obtained, but also the phone number. Phone number, so that they know they are contactable. The other thing is that we must have the due date for the payment and amount already paid. There may have been a deposit that was paid that you asked for, or a partial payment. We shall come to partial payments. So the amount that has been paid and the amount still remaining, all those need to be clear. But the due date, you see, the thing about debts is you need to follow them up. That's the second action, following up. But if you don't have a due date, you have no reference point by which you should have collected that money, or by which you should be reminding the customer to pay. So record every payment or every purchase or every sale that has not been paid in full, or any payment that comes. Action number 2, that is following up. Many times following up seems to be a burden, or it can be assumed that you don't want to disturb the customer, or you expect the customer can remember. But following up is essential. At this time, especially more so at this time, following up is completely essential. That could be a phone call, or it could be an email, it could be an SMS, it could be a WhatsApp, but there needs to be a follow-up. And the follow-up has to be somehow structured. It could be documented. It could be an email that payment is due on such date. You can see even big companies are always giving us reminders well ahead of, for instance, the due date for a loan repayment. More and more of them are giving you reminders, even big banks. They're giving you reminders of the date that your installment is due. Insurance or whatever, sometimes they're following up 2 months ahead, so that you're aware that at that point in time, that payment is due. This is standard business practice. Following up is not bothering your customer. It is normal business practice that you follow up, you send reminders, and all business people expect to be followed up unless they find that you're not following up. That's when they can wonder, how come you're not following up? There's a debt, how come you're not following up? It is standard practice. They themselves are following up on their customer payments, so they expect also to be reminded by a follow-up message or a reminder invoice or something like that. So following up is part of business practice. So if you didn't have a structure for following up, we can give you the structure in our Boresha Biz app. We have a structure that helps you automatically remind a customer that a certain payment is due by a certain date. In fact, the way we say it is that there are 3 good times. There are at least 3 good occasions or schedules. You should have at least 3 schedules. The first is before it is due. Before the due date is a good time to send a follow-up reminder. On the due date, it's also a great time, so that if a customer was aware that you are reminding them, they can also see the date. On the due date, they can see that, yes, indeed, it was today. It was today that it was due. And of course, the third time is if the payment is overdue. Past the due date, you still need to send a reminder. You send to follow up, including a follow-up phone call, that yes, this amount is overdue. It's past the due date. So these are things which need to be done from now on. If they're not being done in your business, please start. So we have 2 actions so far. One is recording records. 2 is follow-up. And as you can see, you can't follow up if you don't have the records. Like the phone number, like the way to send something, a method of sending something, a communication. So record keeping is important. It enables follow-up, and follow-up needs to happen more and more, in fact, all the time. If you are owed money, then you know, or you should know, that follow-up is necessary. So those are 2 steps, 2 action steps. Number 3, the third one. The third one is taking partial payments. Like I said, this is a time when things are stretched. The environment is difficult, but this is also the time for you to understand that partial payments are more important now than ever before. So, what are partial payments? You could break down the sale of your service or product into initial deposit. That is a partial payment, okay? Or down payment, as it could be called. That is a partial payment. Or if you are selling the product without any down payment or any partial payment, the person or the customer that owes you can also be made aware that they can pay a partial payment. So what do you do as the business owner? You should have a structure for receiving partial payments. It may sound like it's going out of your way, but it is now a way of getting paid. So though it may look a bit, different from what you're used to, but structure your business to receive partial payments. These are the times that we have to remember that partial payment is part of the process of paying what you sold. Remember, if you are not receiving a partial payment, you run the risk of losing two things actually. Two things. The cost that it took you to buy that stock or to deliver that service that was bought by the customer. Also the profit element. So you better start understanding that a partial payment is going to reduce that risk of losing the two things that you must have, absolutely must have. Recover the cost of the product and obtain the profit. Recover the profit you should have got. So, customers are increasingly unable to pay the full amount. So, develop a structure that helps you to cover or to get either upfront or during the transaction or after the transaction part of the payment. Because they are more and more stretched, this is going to become more and more common. Okay? Partial payments help you to keep that money in your business to continue buying stock even for others, for other customers. But remember that a partial payment confirms the commitment of that customer to pay you. It actually assures you that that customer is engaged enough or committed enough to continue this sale process. So, in fact, there are some industries which work according to that prepayment process as standard. If you want a cake baked, for instance, you will be told the deposit is this amount, and that deposit is required. You'll be told that deposit is required to buy the ingredients, because we don't keep the ingredients for your specific type of order. Likewise, construction. Nobody will start constructing for you without a down payment. Sure. Maybe 35%. For some industries, it is standard. 35%, others 50%, and for others, it is the full payment. Pay up front. So these are terms that start becoming very, very often, very common. Payment upfront for a specific amount. But even when the customer has taken the product, then you should also have that structure, like I said, for receiving partial payments from that customer. Okay. And what else should you do? Sorry.
Yes.
What else should you do to a customer who hasn't paid? Don't access more credit to them. Don't extend more credit to them until they pay what is outstanding. It's a fact that you can't commit more money, more of your working capital to the same customer who owes you part of your working capital. So don't extend further credit to such a customer. If they must buy something and you want them to sometimes continue buying, they buy the next order on cash. Then make sure they pay you fully upfront for whatever else they are buying. Then the relationship continues. But otherwise, they should not be extended further credit until amounts are cleared. So, like I said, structure for receiving partial payments. This is time now to work on that. Have that structure so that you can be receiving part payments. More and more customers will get into that situation where they're asking, how much do I pay first? You need to have an answer. You need to have structure. You need to show that you are ready to take that sort of payment plan. And you need to have prepared a payment plan or a partial payment plan that works well for you. For some cases, there's a premium. There's an extra amount that you charge for those who are going to pay part. So those who are supposed to pay part, they get they pay without negotiating, for instance. While those who are ready to pay or who have cash to pay can get something with a discounted price or a price that is not at the premium, does not have an extra charge because of time it takes to pay. So be ready with those structures so that your business can thrive. And customers expect you to have been thinking about those, because if, for instance, they're business customers, they're already having to think about those for their customers. So that is number 3. Partial payments have a structure.
Yes.
Paul, maybe?
Yes, there's a poll running. Please participate. If you, in case you want to know the question is, do you usually ask for deposits in your business, or do customers usually pay after everything is done? Either of the two. So if they ask for deposits, yes. If they don't, then it's a no. They ask after. So please participate and throw in your questions in the comment section as we go on.
What we know is that those 3 steps, recording or keeping records, number 2, following up, number 3, payment or partial payments, those 3 are very effective in ensuring that you're getting paid regularly and things are not getting stuck. You are not ending up with customers with so much money that your business is going to be affected.
Mm-hmm.
But there are occasions when a customer clearly looks like they will not be able to pay the way you expect them to pay.
Mm-hmm.
So for that, we suggest to you action number 4, negotiation. Be ready to negotiate. Be ready to negotiate. Clearly you can see this customer may not actually pay you, but that should not be the end. You should be ready to negotiate. What am I saying? Be ready to get as much of the debt paid back to you as possible. So be ready to negotiate so that you recover. In fact, it is called recovery. You are recovering. A customer who looks like they will not pay or cannot pay, or their industry, for instance, cannot pay or is not paying, that's what's happening. Switch to recovery mode, and recovery mode involves negotiation. Be ready to negotiate. How do you do that? First of all, contact the customer with a good voice, a firm voice, and ask how much they can pay now or soon. How much can they pay you? You need to be paid to run your business. So how much can they pay? Receive that money. Accept that money, receive it, bank it, record it, and understand or record how much they still owe. So that may look like it's unusual, but it shouldn't be. Your business needs that money. Remember, your business spent money buying or paying for the service they offered, or making that service available, or buying the product that was sold. So your business needs that money. So once it's received, that is very good. It is progress. So what's the next step? The next step is ask. In fact, there and then ask, when will you pay the next amount? Or how much are you going to pay next, and when? Again, keep things moving. Keep things moving. They expect you to continue to pursue your money. Yes, because that's part of business practice, to pursue the money owed to your business. So, when and how much will they pay the next amount? Again, It's a serious conversation. Be ready to receive that money. You should be aware that you don't also want to incur too much expense or too much cost to chase the debt. In fact, you should aim at not spending more than the total debt that you are owed, because if you spend more than that, then you're actually investing so much in that transaction. So much so that it could be affecting your ability to run your business or to buy more stock and so on, to keep your working capital circulating. So be conscious that you don't want to overspend to recover, but there's something else you should aim at doing. Offer a discount to that customer for paying you in lump sum. So offer to give a 5% off, so that the customer, if the customer will pay you the balance in one lump sum, offer that 5%. So if it's 200, offer to receive 190. All right, it could be 190,000 or whatever. Offer to receive 190 and write off the 5% or 10%. Offer that, and let's see if that will excite or lead to some action taking. If they will move towards paying that debt. Businesses don't always get discounts. A 5% discount is a lot of money. If they weigh and see that they're being given a 5% discount to take a debt off their books, that is significant. So it's 10%. So be ready, as part of the negotiation, be ready to talk about, look, I want you to pay that money. So I'm willing to give you a discount, but pay me the full lump sum. Of course, if they want to again continue paying you over time, then they lose that opportunity to get that discount, because it's like going back to where we were. So, yes, discounts are interesting, especially to businesses. They can see that the debt is in their books. So reducing the debt in their books is important, because they want to keep a good balance sheet, a clean balance sheet. Of course, another step is to stop selling to that customer if they still owe you money. You don't want to keep on aggravating, increasing the debt that is outstanding. So you can't continue to sell to that customer. They have already spoiled their credit. Definitely not on credit. If they are buying something significant on cash, well, I would say you wouldn't be ready to give them a discount, because they are already spoiling their relationship. They've already spoiled their credit worthiness. So ensure that you're selling them at a price that helps you to recover profit better than running into the kind of problem that they have put your business. So these are ways of recovering money. We say it's recovery at this stage, but still that money belongs to your business. So if nothing is seeming to happen, and you're trying to recover your debt through cost-effective ways like phone calls, like even meeting the customer in places they are likely to be, and having those conversations with them. If nothing seems to be working, be ready to take legal action. It is perfectly admissible to take legal action. In fact, there are some industries which are entitled to certain actions to recover their debts, their customer debts. So if you're in an industry where you are entitled to an action to recover debt, this is a time to take that action, because that way that customer will know clearly things are serious. But not only that, they will know that you have a right to take that action. There are some industries where they have that action. Distress is the word that is commonly used. Take action in distress or for the distress that has been made to happen to your business. So those customers will know that yes, your business is entitled to taking that action because of the distress they are causing your business. And they will get serious and they will see that they really didn't want to get into this kind of mess or this kind of trouble. They may speed up. And in that case, expect what is written is the amount that is owed, and things don't change after that. That amount becomes binding, the amount they owe you. So they may choose to pay you before you write that distress. They pay you a certain amount, which is again welcome. But still, the action to take is when you take that action, they will get more serious. Receive, but get more, but still take that action. So there you are. These are things which are confronting businesses. So it's not unusual to find yourself going through these steps. And so the thing is to be prepared. Be prepared. I've talked about record keeping. Without records, you can't even follow up. 2 is follow up. 3, partial payments. And 4, where it is completely difficult to get paid, that's the recovery. And to get through recovery, be ready to negotiate. There are ways to negotiate and get some money back. Now, before I go to common mistakes, or let me go to common mistakes.
Yes.
Because there's a few and time is moving.
Okay.
Common mistakes. What are the common mistakes that small businesses could make during this time? During this time when customers are stretched. First, giving products on credit when you haven't even discussed. There's no plan. You have not agreed. What's the plan for them to pay? So, stop giving credit without a plan, an agreed plan. That agreed plan should appear on the invoice. The date, the amount, the payment due date, the amount, and those details that are inside an invoice. So, and that invoice is part of the records. And then, of course, follow up, track. If you don't track, if you don't follow up, the unfortunate thing is that you may stand to lose money. This is a time when you could lose your business. Of course, I'm talking about your business. You could lose money if you're not tracking and following up. You won't know. In fact, like I said with some examples, several businesses only discover once they start tracking how much is actually outside or how many customers actually owe them. They are surprised that there are so many or that there's so much money. In fact, it's somehow like bringing money. So that business was lost, that money was lost, now it's back into the business. Another common mistake, trusting only verbal promises. Verbal is not adequate. No, it is not, or mental, it's not adequate. And forgetting to write the balances. If a payment is made and you don't write the balance due, then that balance due could also get lost. Because your customer might find out that you're not clear about how much or whether they have paid in full or not. So you may stand to lose that balance. So stay on track with writing down or making it clear how much is the balance so that all parties are aware. Waiting too long before you follow up. Following up is part of business practice. More so now. In fact, always, even from earlier, from before, now, following up is part of business practice. Also feeling shy or, feeling lazy to ask for payment or that the customer will remember. No, it's less likely to happen. as time goes on. Or giving too much credit to a customer. There are times when you have to stop or control the amount they should take. You can't give credit of a huge sum of money without really thinking hard about it. You should have smaller amounts. Control the amount of credit that you give. Don't just give, even if the customer is very, very familiar to your business. This is time to think clearly. How much can you actually give on credit? Are things going to be the same, or should things tighten because the environment is tightening? Maybe it's time to talk about a tighter payment plan. Instead of 30 days or 40 days, 45 days, that it should be 30 days, and maybe a discount on early payment. Time to introduce a discount for early payment, like I said. Another common mistake is repeatedly supplying customers, yet they have already shown you that they have a challenge paying you. Their credit worthiness is going down, and you're still supplying them on credit, or still it's not business as usual. In fact, there should be customers that are now becoming cash customers. They may have been previous credit customers. There may now be customers who are now being moved to cash basis. Expect this to happen. It's not a hard thing to imagine. If customers are taking longer to pay or defaulting more, then there should be more customers becoming or being made to be cash customers than credit customers. A final poll before we go to the way out.
Okay, there's a poll which is running, and it was running while Patrick was talking. And the question is, what do you currently use to track customer balances? What are you using? Are you using notebooks? Are you using WhatsApp? Are you using Excel and Google Sheets? Or I do not track? If that is your answer, it's well and good. So participate in the poll, and we are going to appreciate. Now we are going to look at the systems.
Those are actually good questions to ask because they point to systems.
Yeah.
Those softwares that have been mentioned are all systems trying to move to a systems way of handling this area of maddening. What we recommend at this stage is systems that are software based, that can help you to tackle this area. What we provide is Boreshabis, which solves a lot of those problems. It gives you a much easier time to deal with, or much easier ways to deal with these collectibles, this maddening. So, Boreshabis is our app. It's web-based or mobile-based. It immediately tracks for you and what is outstanding, what is paid by a customer who had an outstanding debt. All that comes clear and visible and updated in real time. So we suggest this is the way to go. If you want to build your business in this time when those challenges are also there, we suggest a systems approach. So this is why we created Boresha Biz. So you will be able to record customer debts. You will be able to follow up debts without fail. You will be able to request partial payments or receive partial payments. You'll be able to use invoices. You will be able to track balances properly and correctly in ways that all parties understand. Your customer understands this is correctly assessed, correctly reminded, and the dates are as discussed. Send reminders, track balances outstanding, and also one of the areas that I suggested, which is now for you to use personally, is to be ready to negotiate. So that is a summary. And in that summary, we have a solution that does 95, if not 100% of the tasks that you need dealt with at this time of challenges of customer madeni. Boreshabis is cost effective. You will find that you're recovering more than the cost of Boreshabis. I talked about cost, and Boreshabis is cost effective. It's the price that you pay is less than what you recover in this whole area of madeni. You will recover more of the madeni, and you will operate at a different level where you can thrive despite customers wanting to buy on credit. You will thrive, you will add more customers. We know customers who have got more of their customers, they've expanded because they have a system that allows them to work in this environment where customers are asking for credit. And there are some industries where credit is standard. We know industries like spare parts, where customers will normally take a spare part, but the minute they're walking out with that spare part, they've got an SMS from Boreshabis saying, and your business, saying that this is the amount that is due, this is the due date, and they're happy to be reminded, to be aware. They can actually tell their customer that actually I've taken this spare part on credit. In fact, there's a debt which needs to be paid. So as you are paying for the service I've given you, the spare part costs this amount. So part of what I've provided for you is the service, but also spares. Spares, we've already got the invoice for the spares. That, in fact, a reminder invoice for the spares that have been used in your premises or in your machinery or motor vehicle, whatever it is. So this is what we are recommending. At this time, you don't want to have things getting lost through the challenges such as madeni. So go systems. And that is why we created Boreshabis. It solves that area as well as other areas like knowing the net cash you have available for buying more stock. It is an app that also helps you optimize the entire stock in your business. What is the best way to allocate funds for your stock? What stock is dead stock? What stock needs to be sold? We even recommend ways of moving your stock faster. So that is what we have for you today. Our next TikTok live is in 2 weeks' time. We shall tell you ahead of time. We listen, and like I said, we listen to what customers want to hear about, and we shall have a topic for you well ahead of the next session, which is exactly
2 weeks.
2 weeks from now. And the date is, the exact date and the time will be communicated to you. 6 p.m. Tuesday.
Yes.
2 weeks from today, we shall have another hot topic for you. So see you then. You have something to add, Stephanie?
It will be on 12th of April. Not April, but May. We are in April now. It will be 12th of May on a Tuesday.
6 p.m. Yes. And we shall have communicated ahead of time the good, relevant topic that we shall be covering so that your business gets better. We want to make your business better. So till then, it's Patrick from Have a Go Business Systems wishing you good business. 2026 is a good year for taking your business to the next level, and we are ready to work with you on it. So catch up with our Boreshabis. Download our Boreshabis app on Play Store, a mobile app, or web app on the web.boreshabis.com. See you then, and let's help you make your business better through Boresha Biz and through our TikTok lives. See you then.